Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July and a safe 4th of July. Of course, it is July 5th, 2012. It is currently 7:49 a.m., and we are already getting very warm throughout the entire New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. We have temperatures in the lower to mid 70s over the northern interior, with dew points in the mid to upper 60s, making for some rather humid weather conditions this morning. Also, we have some fog over the northern interior as a result of all that moisture in the air, producing visibility anywhere between 2 to 4 miles. That visibility will be rising as we go on through the morning, and this fog will lift by 10 a.m. Elsewhere, over the New York City metropolitan area, temperatures are in the upper 70s with dew points in the 70s as well. And also over the Philadelphia metropolitan area, we're already pushing into the lower 80s with dew points in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Okay, so we get it. It's hot. It is very hot, and will continue to be very hot over the next several days. However, today could be rather interesting because the model guidance is basically forecasting high temperatures in the lower to mid 90s for most locations. Along the coast, upper 80s to lower 90s, possibly falling into the mid 80s with a sea breeze along the immediate coast. But I think it could actually get a lot hotter, and I'm going to show you why. Let's take a look at the infrared satellite picture. You can see high pressure starting to build south. We see skies are clearing out. This frontal boundary, if you can call it a cold front, it really isn't. It's more of a dry line, if anything, is diving south and will set up to the south of the Philadelphia metropolitan area, right around, let's say, Baltimore, Washington, this area, by this afternoon. Now, when we took a look at the water vapor satellite picture, you could see a lot of sinking air starting to develop over the northern Atlantic. Now, we still have some high clouds and moisture from a remnant thunderstorm complex diving down through the Ohio River Valley, but overall, you could see sinking air starting to take shape as this high pressure system builds south and east. So we have sinking air at the mid and upper levels. We have very dry air building in from the Great Lakes into the northern mid-Atlantic for this afternoon. And the combination of these two features has me a bit concerned. And here's why. When you have sinking air and it's drying out, that allows the temperatures to spike. And typically that's not caught very well by the model guidance. I would not be surprised if the Philadelphia metropolitan area sees an isolated 100-degree temperature this afternoon. I stress isolated, and the pattern will have to set up just right this afternoon for this to occur, but all the warning signs are showing up here. Temperatures are already in the lower 80s. We have plenty of sunshine expected for this afternoon. Our boundary is going to drop south, which will drop the dew points. I'm not expecting 50s here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we fall back into the lower 60s in terms of dew points. So it'll feel drier, and that will allow the temperature to spike. And if temperatures are already in the lower 80s now, it would not surprise me if we see a few 99s, maybe 100, right around the Philadelphia metropolitan area. In the New York City metropolitan area, we're in the 70s right now, which I think will lead to us possibly pushing into that 95, 96, maybe even 97 temperature degree range, especially around Newark and northeastern New Jersey, right around in that little corridor, perhaps over portions of New York. I think that JFK and LaGuardia will not reach those type of optimum temperatures. They'll be around 89 to 92 degrees. But I would not be surprised if you're right around Newark, let's say, that you end up feeling much hotter than what's being forecasted right now at 92. Wouldn't be surprised if we hit 96, 97 degrees in those locations if this dry air and sinking air sets up just right for this afternoon. So overall, we still remain hot. And this weather pattern really isn't going to change until maybe Monday. And I stress maybe here. Let's take a look at the European model guidance, because this model has been performing the best out of all the models for this summer pattern. And really, it pretty much has been mimicking the pattern that I've been suggesting since about March. So here we are for this evening. You can see that our trough lifts out. Our upper level ridge, powerful upper level ridge, is now connected from the plains all the way into the Atlantic and is in full control. So we have dry conditions today, tomorrow, and now when I say dry conditions, look, with this type of pattern, you can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm each day. So you have to keep an eye on an isolated thunderstorm here and there. It could become severe. These thunderstorms are going to feature the potential for a lot of lightning, strong wind gusts, and very heavy downpours. So don't be surprised if an isolated thunderstorm pops up in your neighborhood, especially if you are right along the coast with a sea breeze front or just a stray disturbance dropping down from the Great Lakes into the northern Mid-Atlantic. Let's say if you're in the Hudson River Valley or Connecticut. So that's the type of pattern we're going to be dealing with all the way on through Sunday, with basically hot and humid conditions, temperatures in the lower to mid 90s for the most part, a few days in the upper 90s, humidity still up there. Each morning will feature temperatures falling back into the 70s for the most part, possibly a few upper 60s over the northern interior. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're in an urban location if your temperature stays in the lower 80s for lows, as this heat just keeps on building up and basically feeds back on itself, should I say. Now, the good news is that on Monday morning, we'll have a cold front move through with scattered showers and thunderstorms. A few of these thunderstorms could be severe. We're going to keep an eye on that. But we get a brief break from the heat and humidity. We fall back closer to normal into the mid to upper 80s for highs for Monday afternoon, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with dry conditions, lower humidity, and generally a comfortable weather pattern for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So we deal with a very hot and humid weather pattern for this weekend, and then by next week we start to fall back to a little bit more closer to normal. Don't get used to it though, because when we look at the long range weather pattern, the Bermuda high comes back. This time the ridge is more focused over the Atlantic, which is going to bring a lot of humidity from the Gulf Coast and from the Caribbean right up the East Coast. And you can see that in the 850 millibar pattern here with the winds, that we're going to have an air mass that's just going to come right out of the Caribbean, right up the East Coast, and right into our neck of the woods. So if you're looking for a prolonged break in this hot and humid weather pattern, it's not coming. It's not going to be here for a very long time, probably not until September. So get used to it. That's your forecast for today. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen D. Martino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there and drink plenty of water.